Okay, you're welcome to this channel once again. I want to share briefly on encryption. The topic encryption is very important for candidates of information securities and IT certification. So if we are writing exams like CISA, CISM, CISSP, right, and the other uh, information security certification, CEH. Okay, the knowledge of encryption or cryptography is going to be a boost, right, to your preparation. Okay, so I've compiled some questions on encryption, and I want us to look at those questions together. And okay, so question one, which of the following is an objective of encryption? A, availability, B, integrity, C, authorization, and D, atomicity. All right. A lot of people believe that encryption is all about confidentiality. So if you ask the average person outside there, what's encryption used for? He or she will tell you, all right, it is about confidentiality, but it really is more than that, right? So through encryption, we want to achieve confidentiality, we want to achieve authentication, we want to achieve non-repudiation, we want to achieve integrity. Right. So if you look at A, B, C, D, is actually B. That is the only one out of the four objectives I mentioned. All right. So the answer here is B. We have contrary opinion. Please, you can always type. I welcome your your comments, criticism. We are all learning together. All right. But for this one, I select B, integrity. Okay. Question two. So this is like, completing the sentence. The longer the encryption key, the dash. All right. Then we have A, more secure the encryption process. The B, the faster the encryption process. C, the less secure the encryption process. D, the easier to hack the encryption system. So what do you think should be the fitting answer here? Right, encryption key, the shorter it is, the faster the encryption process, but the easier it is to, for the encryption system to be hacked. And of course, the reverse is the case for the longer encryption key. All right, so if you have a long encryption key, the overhead, all right, the encryption overhead, the computational overhead is going to be high. All right, but that is the con. The pro is that, all right, the encryption system is going to be more secure. All right. So in that case, here the A is the best answer. The longer the encryption key, the more secure the encryption process. All right. So in this case, I'm selecting A as the answer. Question three. Which of the following symmetric encryption algorithm is more secure? All right. A is data encryption standard DES. B is triple DES. Then you have C, advanced encryption standard. Then D, you have blowfish. All right. So, students of cryptography, we know you have symmetric key cryptography, you have public key cryptography. All right. So, data encryption standard is actually very, very susceptible to crypto analysis. So it has been hacked. All right. So they came up with an improved form of DES, which is a triple DES. All right, but it's not actually as as secure as AES, Advanced Encryption Standard. Globally, AES is accepted as a very secure private key cryptography algorithm. So in this case, the best answer is C. Okay, question four. Which of the following is a major challenge with private key cryptography? All right. A, slow encryption process. B, session key distribution. C, complexity of the encryption process. D, high computational requirements. So what do you think should be the answer in this case? Okay, private key cryptography. All right. It's fast. It's relatively fast. So it can be A. All right. The challenge, all right, with private key cryptography is, the key used to encrypt is the same key that is used to decrypt. So how is the sender going to pass that key in a secure manner to the receiver? That is a major challenge with private key cryptography. All right, and so the answer for this, all right, should be B, the distribution, all right, of the session key. All right, that is the challenge. B is the answer here. Okay, question 5. Which of the following encryption algorithm is best suited for mobile devices? Okay, so you have data encryption standard, you have RSA, which is public key cryptography. All right, you have advanced encryption standard, then you have elliptic curve cryptography or ECC. Okay, so actually, in terms of the best encryption algorithm for mobile devices, for devices with minimal computational power, all right, is actually ECC, elliptical cryptography, that is actually the best, all right, to use for mobile devices or devices with minimal computational power. So the best answer in this case is D. Okay, question says, which of the following is a major concern in the use of public key cryptography? I must have mentioned it earlier. A, high computational requirements. B, session key distribution. C, less reliance on private keys. D, inability to generate digests. All right, you don't need digests for public key cryptography anyway. So, and you don't necessarily, session key distribution is not a problem, all right, because we have the private keys which are not shared. Okay, the public keys can be shared. So the major challenge is that the high computational overhead the public key cryptography requires. So the best answer here is definitely A. Okay, question 7. Which of the following can be used to achieve the integrity objective? All right. So you have private key cryptography, A, B, public key cryptography, C, hash function algorithm, D, digital envelope. So what is the integrity objective? You want to be able to confirm that a message has not been altered before the receiver got it. And how do we achieve that? With hash function algorithm, all right, secure hash algorithm, message digest, and the rest of those algorithms outside there. So the best answer here is C, hash function algorithm. Okay, question 8. Which of the following can be used to achieve the confidentiality objective? How do you achieve the confidentiality objective? All right. A, encrypt the message with the private key of the receiver. All right. B, encrypt the message with the public key of the sender. C, encrypt the message with the private key of the receiver. D, encrypt the message with the public key of the receiver. All right. A cannot be right. All right. Because as a sender, you don't have access to the private key of the receiver. All right. If we encrypt with the public key of the sender, it means only the sender can decrypt it. Because a message encrypted with the public key of the sender can only be decrypted with the private key of the sender. So it can be B. So the best answer is actually C for confidentiality. Oh, it's not C. All right, it's not C because if you encrypt the message with the private key of the receiver, what does that mean? All right, okay, fine. You mentioned that you cannot encrypt with the private key of the receiver because you don't have access to the private key of the receiver. Ideally, you can the private key of the receiver is not shared. The same thing with the private key of the sender. The private key of the sender too is not going to be shared. All right, so that leaves us with D. Encrypt the message with the public key of the receiver. All right, so if you encrypt the message with the public key of the receiver, which has been shared with the sender, all right, then that means the receiver cannot decrypt that message with its his or her own private key. All right. So a message encrypted with the public key of the receiver can only be decrypted with the private key of the receiver. And remember that the private key of the receiver cannot be shared. So which means that the decrypted information is only available to the receiver. All right. So the best answer for achieving confidentiality objective is to encrypt the message with the public key of the receiver, which is D. Okay, I would like to hear your comments, all right, in the comment section. Question 9, which of the following can be used to achieve the non-repudiation objective? A, encrypt the hash of the message with the public key of the receiver. B, encrypt the message with the private key of the receiver. C, encrypt the message with the private key of the sender. D, generate the hash of the message using MD5 hash generator. What do you think should be the answer? Non-repudiation means, all right, an action should not be deniable. So if you have initiated an action, you should not be able to deny that you are not the one that performed the action. Okay, so in this case, how do you achieve non-repudiation objective? All right, the message have to be encrypted with the private key of the sender. All right, so once a message is encrypted with the private key of the sender, and the receiver has the public key of the sender, and the receiver is able to use the public key of the sender to decrypt that particular message. All right, then you can, because there's a match. All right, the receiver has a public key, and your private key is used to encrypt the message, and the public key of the public key, the public key of the sender has been used successfully by the receiver to decrypt the message. So what are you talking about? You can't deny. All right. So in this case, we are looking at C, encrypt the message with the private key of the sender. That is going to give you the non-repudiation objective. Okay, great. Encryption is an interesting topic that could be confusing, and that's why I'm trying to break it down so that we'll be able to really get what it's all about. Okay, so which of the following, number 10, is best regarded as a digital summary or fingerprint of a message? All right, that should be very easy for a student of encryption or cryptography. A, you have digest, B, clear text, C, cybertext, D, algorithm. Of course, the digital summary of a message or the fingerprint of a message is called a hash or digest. So that means A is the answer we are looking for. Question 11. Which of the following can be used to achieve the confidentiality and integrity objectives? So how do you, all right, so confidentiality, all right, that means you have to encrypt with the public key of the receiver. The integrity hash function algorithm has to come into the picture. So those are the two things you need to answer question 11. So let's look at A. Encrypt the hash of the message with the public key of the receiver. Okay, so would that give us hash of the message? That's integrity. Public key of the receiver, that's confidentiality. Okay, great. That's actually the answer, but let's look at what B is saying. Encrypt the hash of the message with the private key of the sender. B will achieve the integrity objective as well as the authentication objective. C, encrypt the message with the public key of the receiver. That will achieve only confidentiality, not confidentiality and integrity. Encrypt the message with the private key of the sender. That will achieve non-repudiation and authentication. So that leaves us with A, as we have said. So for question 11, A is the best answer. Okay, for question 12, which of the following can be used to achieve integrity and authentication objective? Like we said, integrity means you're going to use hash function algorithm. Authentication means the private key of the sender is going to be involved. So what has that? A, encrypt the hash of the message with the private key of the sender. Definitely that's the answer we are looking for. But let's check the rest. B, encrypt the message with the public key of the receiver. Remember we said that will only achieve confidentiality principle. Okay. Then C, encrypt the hash of the message with the private key of the sender. That will achieve integrity and authentication. Okay. That will achieve integrity and authentication. Okay. Then we have D. encrypt the hash of the message with the public key of the sender. So that will achieve integrity and okay, public key. You can actually encrypt with the public key of the sender because that means that message is locked only to the sender because it's the private. If you encrypt the message with the public key of the sender, only the private key of the sender can decrypt it, which means that message is locked only to the sender. Okay, so we have here A. Okay, so A and C. So A is actually repeated in C. Okay. So you can pick any one of them, either A or C, it's the same thing. Okay, so basically to achieve integrity, encrypt the message with the hash, all right, with hash function algorithm, all right, generate the hash of the message, all right, then of course, either you encrypt the hash of the message or the message itself with the private key of the sender, that will do it. All right, so for question 12, you can pick A or C. Okay, for question 13, which of the following can be achieved with digital signatures? So digital signatures are applications of hash function algorithm and authentication objectives. So we can achieve A, authentication and integrity, B, non-repudiation and confidentiality, C, confidentiality and authentication, D, integrity and confidentiality. So the problem with B, C, and D is that confidentiality. You can't achieve confidentiality objective with digital signatures. It's basically authentication or reputation and integrity. Because what you do with in digital signature basically is that you generate the hash of the message and then you encrypt the hash of the message with the private key of the sender. So definitely that is going to achieve authentication, non-repudiation, as well as integrity. So the best answer for question 13 is A. Question 14, which of the following can be used to create an encryption system that is both secured and uses less computational power? All right, so A, private key cryptography, B, public key cryptography, C, digital envelope, D, hash function algorithm. Both secure. All right, private cryptography uses less computational power, all right, because it uses shorter keys, all right, but it's not secure. Like we said, distribution of the key, all right, is a challenge. Public key cryptography is secure, all right, more than private cryptography, but it's the overhead, the computational power overhead is high. All right, so basically, hash function algorithm, some people argue that it's not even really an encryption system, all right, because basically, because it's one-way traffic. Basically, you can encrypt, all right, you can convert a known text, all right, to a ciphertext, all right, but you can't reverse it. All right, you can't reverse it. So that leaves C for us, digital envelope. Okay, so digital envelope basically is a situation whereby we are combining the pros of private key cryptography and public key cryptography. All right, so for example, you have a bulk message. All right, if you try to use public key cryptography to encrypt a bulk message, all right, you're going to spend lots and lots of time, all right, because public key cryptography requires lots and lots of computational power. So it's best you encrypt a bulk message with private key cryptography algorithm, all right? And so you are going to use a session key, all right, to do the encryption of the bulk data. Then you can now encrypt the session key with public key cryptography. The session key is not going to be too heavy, all right? So that way we have been able to eliminate the weakness of private key cryptography and the weakness of public key cryptography, and we have now been able to harness the strength of the two cryptographic systems. So encrypt the bulk message with private key cryptography, encrypt the session key that you have used with public key cryptography. So that way the session key is now secure. For example, we can encrypt the session key with the public key of the receiver. So if I, as a sender, have the public key of the receiver, I encrypt the session key with the public key of the receiver, which means, all right, even if that session key gets to wrong, and you can't use it because you can't decrypt it. All right, because that session key can only be decrypted with a private key of the receiver. See, that's what they call digital envelope. When you combine the strength of private key cryptography with the strength of public key cryptography, we call it digital envelope. This answer for question 14 is C. Like I said, you can also share your knowledge and comments in the comment section. Question 15. A distribution attribute of hash function algorithm, I've talked about this. A, speed. B, minimal computational power. C, reversibility. D, lack of portability. Of course, the answer is C. Like I said, you can convert, a known text, all right, in English, in whatever language it is, all right, you can convert it, all right, to a server text, but you can't reverse it. You can't reverse the server text back to the normal text. That is not going to be possible, all right, with hash function. And of course, it has many wonderful applications, especially in password management, right? So you can encrypt the password, and it's the encrypted form of the password that is stored, not the normal password which you type. Very interesting. So it's not reversible. The answer is C. Okay. Question 16. Which of the following is best suited for a password management system? I just answered it, right? A, data encryption standard. B, RSA. C, private key cryptography. D, hash function. I just mentioned it. All right. So why should you? All right. So if you look at many of these password management systems, they will give you options. All right. For example, Active Directory. All right. Give you option to encrypt with either reversible or irreversible encryption. All right. Of course, the best practice is that you pick irreversible encryption. All right, which is hash function. So the idea is that my password is whatever, whatever, whatever. All right, it's not stored exactly the way I type it. So even if the password file is hacked, all right, it is still, the content is still meaningless to whoever has access to that file. So the answer is D for 16. For question 17, which of the following verifies identities and generate digital certificates in a public infrastructure? So this is public infrastructure, PKI. Of course, we have registration authority. All right. And what they do is that basically they work for the certificate authority. Certificate authority basically is the entity that actually issues digital certificate, all right, for websites, organizations. Yes, we know these guys, we trust them. Okay, this is our seal. All right, these are our certificates that we are issuing, to them. So you will have seen verified by VeriSign on so many websites. All right, Komodo and the rest of them. All right, so B, certificate authority, C, web browsers, D, relying party. All right, so definitely in this case, since they're talking about generation of digital certificate, it's going to be B, certificate authority. Certificate authority that can generate digital certificates. All right, question 18. Which of the following verifies the identity and claims of a website, but does not, all right, operational word, but does not generate a digital certificate? A, certificate authority. B, registration authority. C, relying party. D, process owner. What do you think should be the answer here? So the registration authority actually performs the admin work, all right, for the certificate authority, all right, to verify the claims of a website, all right, but they do not have the power to issue digital certificate. They can only make recommendations based on their findings to the certificate authority. So for question 18, the best answer is B. The best answer is B. Okay, let's move on to 19. Compromised digital certificate will most likely be listed on A, digital asset inventory, B, certificate revocation list, C, certificate practice statement, C, information security policy. All right, so this is for you if you understand how the PKI works. All right, so when a digital certificate is compromised, basically they file it or they inventory it in the certificate revocation list, so that you can always verify if is the status of a particular certificate. Certificate practice statement is like a policy document that is used by the certificate authority on the processes they follow, all right, philosophies they follow in issuance and expiration, revocation of digital certificates. So it's like a policy statement. So the best answer for question 19, all right, is going to be B. It's going to be B, certificate revocation list. Okay, question 20. Uh, the last question that we have here, which of the following best describes a situation in which two different messages generate the same hash or digest? So this is an hash function algorithm. Now, this is extremely, extremely rare. All right. So you have A, pollution, B, attenuation, C, dispersion, D, opacity. All right. Attenuation is the weakening of signals of network cables, all right, over some distances. Like, for example, after like 100 meters, all right, network cables will start losing signals. That's what they call, the strength will start dropping. That's what they call attenuation. So, which necessitates the use of boosters, okay, in network environments. Okay, so attenuation cannot be the answer. Dispersion cannot be the answer. All right, opacity has to do with it's very much related to confidentiality. All right, so you have control to ensure that people, all right, or any observer did not even know the nature of your communications with other parties, the frequency of your communications with other parties. They are completely blanked out. So not only can they not see what you are transmitting, that's confidentiality. They do not even know when it is going on or the means through which it is going on. That's opacity. All right, so that leaves us with collusion. So so you have a very rare situation in which different messages, all right, are generating the same hash on a hash function algorithm. It's not common. It's not common. All right. If it's something that happens regularly, the hash function algorithm is not going to make sense. All right. Because the idea behind hash function algorithm is that if I send you a message, all right, and I send you the hash of the message, you're supposed to regenerate the hash of that message and compare it with the hash of the hash I sent to you. So that if the hashes are the same, then you know that the message has not been altered. But if the hashes are different, then you know automatically that the message you got was not the one I sent. So that's the idea behind our hash function algorithm. So collision has to be very rare. All right, it has to be very rare for hash function algorithm to make sense. So the best answer here is A. All right, so this is the questions I have for you on encryption. I hope you have learned one or two things. If you have questions or you want me to make some more clarifications, you can drop your questions in the chat box. All right. Thank you so much for listening. See you in my next video. Thank you.